Welcome to Protea Conversations. My name is Zane Stevens, the founder of Protea Financial, and today with Ashley. Ashley, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So, give us a quick breakdown. Who are you? What's your role at Protea, and whereabout are you located?
My name's Ashley Kniffin. I am a senior account manager at Protea I live in Lake County, California, in a little town called Hidden Valley Lake, and work out of the Nevada office.
Fantastic. So we're back on it. You've been on Vineyard before, and we got to know a little bit more about you on the last interview. But in this year, 2023, you did celebrate 5 years with Protea. So that's something exciting, to always hit that milestone.
Absolutely.
So before we get into sort of anything about the 5 years, can you give us a quick history of where you were before you joined Protea?
Before I joined Protea, I started my career at KPMG, originally in Dallas, Texas, and then moved to Austin, Texas in the audit sector. So I did technology, I did state and local 199 audits. And then I was there for a total of about almost I think it was over 4 years. And then I moved out to California because that's where my husband is from. And so he wanted to move back. So I basically told him that I'm just not commuting anymore. So he picks where I live, and then I'll pick a job right there. So California, Napa Valley specifically, is known for their wineries. So I just went on a mission to find an accounting job within a winery. So then I started with Cakebread Cellars. I was there a little over a year, just in like a junior accountant role, and then kind of got my foot in the door with winery accounting, and then I moved on to Hess Collection Winery and stayed there for about 3 years doing mainly just cost accounting and more inventory related things. And then I found Protea. I've been here for 5 years.
Yay. And we're glad you found us. Been a wonderful addition to the team and added tons of value over the last 5 years. How are you feeling about being here for 5 years? I mean, it's the job that you've been with the longest, so that's always
Exactly.
interesting.
Well, that's saying something. I don't need to move on. Yeah, it's been great. It's the flexibility is just amazing. It fits well with my role here at home with two young kids, and my husband's job is very demanding, so I do a lot of drop-offs and pickups and practices and sports and stuff. So it's just it's nice to have the flexibility to kind of work before they wake up, and then work a little throughout the day. So I still pick them up at 3 p.m. and then I do the night stuff, and then I can work at night if I need to. So the flexibility has been amazing. That's the number one perk.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like the most as well. And I'm the one who put this together. So
Exactly.
the ability to pick my kids up, coach them sports, jump in where I need to is always great. So I'm glad you're enjoying that portion. Obviously started account manager. On our last call, we discussed your promotion to senior account manager. Lots of different clients along the way. Very interesting mix of clients, I would say. From some really small startup wineries to some bigger ones that have been around for a long time and everything in between.
Yep.
Um, Obviously all been in the wine except for one client, right? There's only one client that's not in the wine space, am I right? Am I thinking
Yes.
correctly?
Yep.
Yeah. One's more wine technology, but that
Yeah.
counts. Close enough. How are you feeling about still sort of just focusing in on the wine space?
It's great. Yeah, I really enjoy, I mean, every day I learn new things too. So it's nice to get a realm of different clients and like learn new things based on where they are in their journey as a winery. Some are more established and some are brand new. So it's just kind of nice just to kind of walk through the whole process with each of my clients and learn something new every day and help them out.
Yeah, one of the things that I've used you a lot for in your time has been that transition from a previous accountant, specifically those in their retirement years, and deciding like it's time to sort of hang up those accounting boots and go enjoy their life a little bit more. Um, I've always found it that you're very good at helping those people transition, which can be tough. It's very difficult. None of them are just jumping out the door and running away. They're sort of slowly moving out, and you've been very successful in negotiating that process with those people. What do you think, like skill set you have that's been allowed you to be so successful with those types of transitions?
Um, I mean, well, my dad was super old, so I I relate to that, and I know how to walk him. I would know how to walk him through like the technology differences. Like I know that they're not very good with cell phones or this and that, so it's just kind of like walking through those types of issues. But I don't know, just being a people person and knowing where they come from and not knowing everything that I might know in the technology area, just trying to do screen shares and walk through like what to do to be helpful, because it's very hard to walk somebody through something on the phone. So if they can just show me their screen and I can help them and show them what to do. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's always been interesting because I've obviously, when you first started with us, we had a role together, and you know, unlike most roles at Protea, there was a bit of in-person time, and sort of we had to negotiate this together. And definitely you had more success negotiating with the person who was, leaving, not a retirement situation, but at the same time where they needed to sort of move on from the position. And what always stood out to me was the way you're able to calm them down in a heated situation where, my strategy was sort of just walk away from it. You sort of sat through and bared it a little bit more, have a little bit more patience for generally unnecessary behavior, I guess is a good way to put it. And sort of being able to almost diffuse it. And, I try to diffuse by just, okay, move on, I'll come back to you later. And you sort of almost hold their hand through it. And for me, that was always very interesting to see that it's both work, but yours tended to probably gather a little bit more trust, and they'd give you a little bit more. And I thought that was always a very helpful skill. Definitely
Yeah.
not something I could pull successfully.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little more time, but I always have the mindset of customers always right. And so I
Mhm.
want to walk them through, okay, I'll listen to your side. But yeah.
Yeah, that's always been good to see. In your 5 years, obviously, we've gone from a fairly small team. I mean, you know, there were only three of us at the start on the US side. I can't even remember how many on the South African side, to a situation where now there's eight of us in the US and 31 in South Africa. And, specifically last year, some massive growth in the team. How's that been? I mean, how's that transition from a small, intimate team to a much bigger team been for you?
Well, I'm super happy to see the success of Protea. It's amazing to see how far we've come in just a few short years. I mean, it's interesting because I see, on our time clock, there's some people that I've never talked to before, which is which is a little funny because before it's like every one of my jobs had somebody on it, I felt like. So it's nice that Protea does, the international calls and stuff to like kind of put us in a position to be able to meet some of the other people that we don't talk to, that aren't on our clients or anything. So yeah, it's nice to be able to get to know everyone. But I mean, it works, and I'm super happy that Protea is growing and being so successful.
No, it's definitely interesting because there was a point in time where I knew everybody, all their backgrounds, their family, and I'm not quite there anymore. I've got a decent sense of each person. At least I talk to everybody. I try at least talk to everybody twice a year, but it
Right.
obviously is a slightly different um sort of connection status that I have with most people, especially people who have come in new. It's just a little different. It seems to still be working. Um, in your teams, I mean, you've had a little bit more stability on a lot of your projects, so the teams haven't changed too much.
Right.
What do you think is your best sort of trick or tip or piece of advice for anybody that's working in your teams with multiple people on it to continue to be successful in communication?
Over communicate for sure. Um, just I always try to just over communicate and make sure that the person receiving the message is understanding what I'm trying to say. Whether I have to say it in multiple different scenarios of a phone call if necessary. Um, yeah, I just think over communicating with all the team members, and like I told you, I changed all my phone calls for the end of the year to be a team call so that everybody on my team is on a phone call together right before we start the busy season, and just kind of go over what the expectations are, ease any stress that might be coming up from the client, just like answer the questions, have everyone on board to ask anything or say anything they need to before the busy time starts.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're busy season started. I can sort of look at the timesheets already, and we're there. But obviously, January is a tough month for us. How are you feeling about heading into your 5th January with Protea?
I'm feeling confident. It's just another one under the belt. You just gotta put the hat on and get it done and do the best you can. I mean, a lot of my clients don't really get all their stuff in the first few months. So sometimes my January, February is not as busy as some other account managers, but it definitely picks up. It definitely picks up, but it's kind of nice. Mine are scattered a little bit. So I don't always feel the overwhelming feeling that some other people might feel with every single client being due like in the first few months.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling confident.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I prefer to drown in January than drag along till the
Right?
last second.
Yep.
That's never fun. But you will be going into year end with some new clients this year, which I don't think that's happened for a while.
Yep.
Um, and how are you feeling about that? It's obviously going to be a slightly different experience from the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm also feeling confident. I think I mean, it will be a learning curve for the new ones, but I'm feeling confident. I don't think there'll be any too big of issues coming up, hopefully.
Well, as we come out of that January 24th, 2024 busy season, we'll run into a big milestone for the company being we'll be celebrating 10 years. Um, any thoughts on that as we sort of approach that milestone?
Um,
I
it's
mean, you've been
just,
here since what, like yeah, halfway through the journey, right? So
yep,
sort of came in just around that 5 years, and I mean, we've already spoken about how much it's changed, but
right. It's just still amazing that it's still so super successful, and I hope it's infinite years. But yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great to see the company growing, meeting more people, having more account managers that aren't even right here in California. We've spread out to different states. Well, some moved, but yeah, it's just great to see the company growing and being such a remote business, opening up the workforce to not just something local on the account manager side at least. So it's nice to see that we're not limited in that field, and we can reach out to really anywhere that fits our role when we keep growing. So
yeah, I think we have what clients in 6 or 7 states now, so
mhm.
we really are a little bit more broader, which I think a lot of people get confused when I say 6 or 7 states because I don't think people realize that wine is grown in so many different places. Uh,
Right.
it's all over the place, and even in California, we've always been stretched pretty far. And I even remember saying on a call today, we have clients from Santa Barbara to Hillsburg, which is actually not true. We have clients from Santa Barbara to Mendocino, which is even further north, and even that footprint grows wider. Even we just took on our first client in the Sacramento area, which you know historically was a very difficult area for us to get into. So you know that reach of where we cover in the country just continues to move in that direction as well.
Yep.
So 5 years, well, 5.5 almost at this point.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have like a best memory or a favorite memory of your time with Protea?
Best memory. Um, let's see. I mean, meeting everyone for the first time is always such a great memory, just to get to know, because we're so far away and I don't get to really even see them in person ever, unless there's a trip to South Africa coming up soon. But just meeting everyone and just putting a face to the name, because it was really hard at first, like oh, here's so and so, and here's so, just like kind of tidbits about them, but it's like information overload. So it's like once you kind of settle down and be able to meet everyone and well, phone call or via Zoom or Skype, and just kind of learn more about them, their personal lives, you know, what their restrictions are in working, like if I shouldn't expect something past, you know, whatever o'clock because of kid duties, or just learning a little bit more about everyone and connecting on a personal level is very special to me for sure.
Great. How about your best piece of advice for anybody that is deciding to either work at Protea or work in any sort of digital um, remote environment?
Best piece of advice. Again, back to communication. Over communicate, because you can't hear tones in emails. So I've made the mistake before thinking someone's super upset, and it's not the case at all. That's just their type of their type of digital communication. But yeah, just over communicating via email, Skype, however you need to do it, and knowing your audience, knowing how they respond. So, you know, like for clients, I have some that won't respond to any emails. So I have to text it. So you just gotta kind of learn your audience and what their preferred method is and how you're gonna get the information you need and how they're gonna communicate back to you. So that's my piece of advice for sure. Learning your audience and knowing how to get what you need.
Communication is always important, and when you're in that remote world, it becomes even more critical. And adjusting to your audience is very important because everybody hears it slightly differently. So you have to sort of make those small adjustments. And I always try to remind people it's how the people hear you, not how you say it, is the most important
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
That perception is reality. So make sure we adjust for it.
Yep.
Ashley, it's been great working with you for 5.5 years now. Thank you so much for all that you do for the company and all that you've done to be part of the success of Protea and the continued success of Protea. And thank you for joining us on Protea Conversations today.
Thank you. Likewise.